Well, hello there everyone. We're here at Flight Radar 24 again. In this little video, we're not really going to be taking a look at tracked aeroplanes, but this one is dedicated to the missing flight MH370. It has been well over 4 years now since MH370 disappeared. Recently we received the final report about the missing airliner, which did not reveal anything that we don't already know, and what we do know is extremely little. So the search has been stopped. We pretty much know nothing that we didn't know 4 years ago. But of note is that France have now opened their own investigation into the missing plane, so let's just hope and pray that anything can be resolved here. But it is with deep sadness that 239 people have been missing and presumed dead for so long, and as yet has still been unexplained. So it is with sadness that I make this little video. So we're going to zoom in now on the map here, and we're going to start at KLIA, of course, where it all began and where MH370 originated. So as we zoom in here, there's plenty of AirAsia flights around, as usual. And this is KLIA, there it is. So it was on the early morning of the 8th of March 2014 when MH370 took off into the night sky. So, was there a security breach at the airport? That is one question that we can discuss. Well, I've been at KLIA many times myself, flying to Kuching, flying to England, and in my experience, security has been far from tight. I felt far from secure when flying out of KLIA. It just doesn't feel wonderfully secure at all. And when I was at London Heathrow, in complete contrast to that, we were searched, we had stuff sprayed on our hands, I was carrying liquid, which was water in bottles, and they forced me to stand in front of them and drink it all before I could go through to the terminal. Things were a lot more vigorous, and apart from having a very full bladder, I also felt extremely safe. So the pilot and co-pilot of MH370 are frequently talked about. Investigations have actually shown nothing about the two of them, nothing untoward, nothing suspicious. Captain Zari Al-Mashar did have a flight to Diego Garcia mapped on his little computer. We will come to that later. But apart from that, there appears to be nothing that suggests one or other of the two pilots could have done something extremely sinister with this flight. So the question is, was there a stowaway? Was there a security breach perhaps at KLIA? Was somebody on that plane who shouldn't have been on the plane? And it leaves the possibility of a very terrible security breach, or the horrendous possibility of an inside job going on at KLIA on that night / early morning. But this is pure speculation, it's stuff that we just don't know. But the questions are there, and as the final report did state, it can't rule out the fact that somebody else may have been involved, or a hijacker, or whatever you would like to call it. So MH370 departed from KLIA, and whatever happened on that flight, we know that it all kicked off right about here. Okay, this area of the Gulf of Thailand is where something happened to the flight, and to this day we are still not sure what. The original search efforts were being conducted right here in the Gulf of Thailand. There were reports from Malaysians that the plane was possibly on fire, but whatever happened here, and it happened right at the point in between Malaysian airspace and Vietnamese airspace. So you could say that if somebody wanted to deliberately sabotage this plane, they would have chosen this exact spot, right between the two countries' airspace. So that is highly suspicious that the ACARS, the communication system, was switched off right there, and the plane took a drastic left turn and started heading back towards the Malaysian mainland. So as we zoom back in, it would have the flight would have flown somewhere over Kuala Terengganu from KLIA, and it made that U-turn and switched off the communication systems. And to add to the suspicion, it came back across Malaysia kind of in a straight line, but it took it across the border between Malaysia and Thailand. So at times it was over Malaysia, at times it was over Thailand, back and forth across that Thai border, the Thai-Malaysia border there. And we are then made aware that it did a little loop around Penang Island, which coincidentally is the hometown of Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah. But again, that proves nothing regarding possible guilt of the pilot. The evidence really is very slim, and what we're going on right now at this stage is the Malaysian radar evidence. And that radar evidence takes the plane, if we just pan out, it made its way across Malaysia, looped around Penang, and then it got into this route where planes from Southeast Asia make their way to India, to the Middle East and beyond, onto that popular route. And the last known radar detection was somewhere around this point, heading out into the Andaman Sea towards the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Having a little trouble with my Wi-Fi connection there, but it was heading out somewhere over there, and at that point we have no radar of where exactly the plane was. So at this stage we draw upon Inmarsat, the British satellite company, and these satellite pings or handshakes, as we heard about in the news. I'm just trying to open up the picture properly here. So from what I know, Inmarsat had a satellite somewhere to the immediate zenith of this point, up there in orbit, and these pings were not precise GPS points. They didn't know exactly where the plane was or its exact location, but rather these pings or handshakes merely showed that the aircraft was still flying in a position relative to their satellite. So hence we had two arcs. So let's just zoom in a little. I think we need to zoom out for this one. So with the satellite somewhere to the zenith of here, there were two arcs, one northern arc around this kind of area, and then one southern arc that came down here. And what it is that MH370 had to be somewhere within those two arcs. So the search that was going on off the coast of Australia, way down here, somewhere around this area, this is purely guesswork. We do not actually have any evidence of where exactly the plane was flying. It could have been flying south, it could have been flying to the west, it could have been flying north, but the southern route was deemed the most likely, and so the search for the last 3 or 4 years has been taking place right here. The Indian Ocean is huge. I mean, it's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's really huge, and it's, of course, it was going to be extremely tough to locate the plane without knowing exactly where it was. But that is what has been going on. The northern route, incidentally, was ruled out. I mean, obviously, because the plane would have been going over a lot of land if it had gone that way, and some countries' radar surely would have detected it and picked it up. So nobody reported any detection of MH370 in the northern route, so all the focus has been on the plane travelling to the south. Now there is also the Maldives and Diego Garcia story around. I don't really like propagating conspiracy theories about this, because this is involving real people and real families who are still grieving. But there were some eyewitness accounts from people in the Maldives. The Maldives are islands right here, and there are people who had eyewitness accounts that they possibly saw a plane that could have been MH370 flying low near the Maldives. However, the theory that it was going to Diego Garcia doesn't really add up for me with those eyewitness accounts, because while the Maldives are here, Diego Garcia is so difficult to find. It is somewhere just here, which is a long way away from the Maldives. We just zoom in. The Maldives are here. As you can see, there are lots of little airports, and Diego Garcia lies down here in this British Indian territories. And if you keep coming down and zooming in, there it is. You'll see this little kind of teardrop shape of an island that is called Diego Garcia, and they're right in the middle of the Indian Ocean. We can keep zooming in. There's the runway. It goes very bright there, which makes it difficult to see much, but that's Diego Garcia, which is a US Navy and Army base. But there is absolutely no evidence at all that MH370 could possibly have been flown out there. So we leave that alone. But that's it really. There was also a flaperon that was discovered off the island of Reunion. Yep, there it is. That's Reunion Island. There's Madagascar. This is Mauritius, famous holiday destination. And here's Reunion. And yeah, there it is. Sorry about that, my iPad decided to crash. We're back. So a flaperon was found there. They did a lot of investigation on it, and it has been confirmed as belonging to flight MH370. But that is one of a very, very limited piece of evidence that we have. We still have found no wreckage, no black box, no cockpit voice recorder, no bodies. There's been no sightings of any luggage, baggage, seats, anything from that flight. So that is the state of affairs right now. It is extremely sad. It is extremely frustrating that 4 years on and we still have no answers. So that is it. What are your thoughts about flight MH370? What do you think is most likely to have happened to it, because let's be honest, flying is still the safest way to travel. So when an accident or an incident or a disappearance and something happens like this, it makes the news, and it's big news because it so rarely happens. What do you think happens? Where is MH370? I don't want to hear conspiracy theories, but when we follow the evidence, what is the most likely outcome? Drop me a comment, let me know what you think.